Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content and often billed as a Harry Potter for adults. That's right, grab your Stardust. We're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're discussing Book 8, Sorrow and Starlight, chapters 1 through 18, where the rebels grieve over the lost, Tory and Gerry rescue the heirs, and Darcy and Orion suffer under Lavinia's care.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube.
Last we left off, devastation had struck. The rebels lost the battle. Geraldine and Xavier are severely injured, and Darius, Hamish, and Catalina, as well as many rebels, are left dead. Now Tory is left reeling as the others who survived. For this, since they're still separated, let's talk about Tory first, and then we will meet back up with Darcy and Orion at the end.
Okay.
I will say, for being 18 chapters, not a lot happened in this section. It was a lot of words, it was a lot of grieving, but not too much actually happened.
Yeah, it was a lot of each character processing things on their own. I guess kind of trying to put the reader in the head of every single point of view, which I feel is unnecessary somewhat. But
oh yeah, we needed to see Xavier react to finding out that his mother and brother both died, and at the hands of his father. So he literally has no family left.
Yeah, I wish
That's
it was
crazy.
less woe is me. And that's what every time he started a new chapter, it was back to the woe is me instead of planning to retaliate, any kind of fighting back. I don't know. It made me think of in a way that I missed that read of Crescent City. When shit happens, they're like, fuck this. And this was not there. It was kind of like a sad sack in every chapter.
It was a lot of grieving, a lot. And there's only one chapter that actually made me grieve along with them. But we'll talk about them later.
It kind of made it to where you stopped grieving. You got annoyed and it stopped hitting.
You're like, just shut up already.
Right? Because when shows have that.
Yeah, about 7 chapters and I was like, okay, this is a lot.
But when you have like TV shows or whatever where there's that moment and they're fighting back or they've had something happen and it's epic. And it felt like they tried to make every chapter epic.
Yeah, I didn't feel it was as much like a woe is me, just more like they are really going to drag this out. I was just like, okay, I agree with how the characters are feeling and I understand that they're grieving. Like this was a crazy battle. They lost really badly, but
it took so long.
I was surprised that it took so long. Yeah. But at the same time, I do want to say this set of chapters is actually kind of interesting for me because I feel like since the end of the last book, we're actually getting the action that we want. We're getting the plot that we want. We're getting
That's true.
movement in a way. I mean, it's slow with the grieving, but we're getting the movement of stuff happening as opposed to it just being about mostly relationships. I don't know. I was excited because things were happening.
Although Tori's speech, holy shit. That was so
it was
fucking
so good.
Now that was a moment that chill bumps epic.
I agree.
Perfectly done.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it wasn't going to be that good. I'm sorry, Tori.
When
I
she
thought it was going to
starts out of, you thought you were getting glory.
Yeah. And when she's like, we should read it. I don't know.
Well, if one of y'all will pull it up. We first meet Tory on the battlefield. We're back exactly where she left off in book 7, and she does walk around and see things, and she does manage to find the Imperial Star as well, which, thank God.
She's like, hello?
Which she was like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
As she should.
And then, of course, she finds out about Hamish and Catalina, and she grieves over them. And she makes ice coffins in order to bring them back to the living rebels. And they have a funeral procession for them. And Tori's like, oh, these rebels are actually grieving for a man that they kind of disliked in the beginning, but who meant so much to me. And it feels like even though they didn't know them, their grief is real. I don't know if I would have, if I were in her position, if I could have been that magnanimous. I can't say that word.
Magnanimous. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking for the speech.
But yeah, at the end of that funeral procession, they do look to Tori, and Dante's like, come on. And she's like, oh, they want me to say something. And so she does give a speech that is off the cuff. And at first,
is that in her first chapter? Is it in the
I think it's in the next one.
second chapter?
It may be in the next one. If you Google glory in it, it'll pop up.
It's in the second one for
Thank
her.
you. Okay.
But yeah, when she first started it, I was like, this is not uplifting, Tori. This is not uplifting.
Yeah. Okay, I found it.
Okay.
This is the one, I think. It says, so I drew in a deep breath and raised my chin and I began to speak, the silence letting my words carry to every fae who cared to listen. Glory is an accolade coveted by so many. It is what a lot of us expected to claim when we faced our enemies on the battlefield at last, and yet it is not what many of you feel you found. What glory can be found in defeat after all? And then I'm just going to skip forward a little bit. What glory can be found when standing shoulder to shoulder with men and women you don't even know, while united against oppression and persecution? What glory can be found when standing firm against a tide of tyranny so all-encompassing that you feel like a grain of sand trying to resist an entire ocean? What glory is there in seeing fae you love cut down and butchered by monsters weaving shadows and creatures born of darkness? What glory can you claim when you fight against a leash which has already tightened around your throat, when laws are written against your rights and a false king dons a crown and no one manages to knock it from his overinflated head? What glory is there in fighting a losing battle and standing with blade in hand and magic burning fiercely through you against a force far bigger than your own, without fear ever once making you flinch, when even the stars won't help us, and the night turns dark with the shadows? What glory is there, then, I ask you? Every one of you standing here before me, and every fae who fell on that battlefield, fighting by our sides, knows the answer to that question.
Relevant.
Because we don't need glory. We only need to know that we are fighting for what is right. We are fighting for freedom from oppression and the end of a tyrant. We are standing up and saying no more. And Lionel Acrux may have sat his scaly ass on my father's throne, but he is nothing but a serpent perched on a pretty seat. I don't bow to him or his false crown. Do you? Holy shit. So relevant.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I had to read it. It was so good. It was so good. Tori really did that shit. We see it in that moment that she is the queen already.
Oh, yeah.
She already has that in her. And we never doubted it. But many of these people will have seen her for who she is to become, I think. She's now led them into battle. And even if it was not the result that they wanted, she is doing what a queen has to do. She has to make sure that her people are going to follow through.
Yeah. She really stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think too.
I think Darius would be so
that
proud
could have
of her.
broken their spirit, losing that badly. But the fact that she's like, this is part of it. This is part of winning.
Absolutely.
Huge difference. Yeah. I absolutely love that speech.
It was so good. And this is all while she's really, really mourning Darius. It's fresh. She literally just saw him die, and she doesn't have time to stop and feel it.
And can we just talk about how much she has grown? The fact that she's able to put that shit aside and not just go off the rails from the first book.
Well, it's like she's always been able to pretend she's not feeling anything. So there is that. But in the past, she would have acted out in some way. And I feel like she knows right now she can't do that. She doesn't have the room to do that.
I think her rage, though, is definitely allowing her to go on.
But she,
yeah, for sure. It's fueling
and she can
her.
focus it, though.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
Right.
with rage as long as you use it right.
As long as it doesn't
Consume you.
lead you in the wrong direction.
So yeah, Tory does linger with the rebels, and we learn that Geraldine and Xavier were both poisoned by the shadows. Gerry is a Cerberus, so it kind of helps her get rid of that poison, but Xavier needs a basilisk. And supposedly, the last basilisk died 6 years ago.
I was like, Carson, where are you?
He's
Sorry,
the-
Carson.
yeah.
I mean, writer.
the guy with the Disney tattoos.
I'm still not over it. Carson.
So yeah, they do end up saving Xavier, and Xavier and Geraldine react to finding out that their parents are dead.
Yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. Especially, I don't know, I was heartbroken, especially for Xavier, because not only did he lose his
Mother,
mom, he also loses Darius.
his only real
who-
family.
Yeah, and I can't imagine coming out of that and feeling.
Though, as Gerry points out, she still considers him family. She's like, that's my stepbrother.
Yeah. I
He
think,
still has me.
yeah, I think I felt worse for her just because of her part in the fight. I don't know.
I think because
I'm Xavier.
you hate
I don't
Xavier
hate
now.
him. I don't hate him. I'm just tired of him. And his reaction to it was, again, the perfect reason why I don't think he's not ready to be a Dom yet. I think that he's just too emotional with it. And you had other people that lost important people around them and they were able to react a little bit better. But he was like, take me now, kill me. I can't go on, without them. And I don't know. I don't see a lot of redeeming stuff for Xavier up to this point. I'm hoping that changes. I do, but he is getting on my last nerve. I did not feel sorry for him.
Also, Gabriel's family comes and asks permission to go back to the battlefield to find Gabriel because they don't know what happened to him either.
Yeah. Dante and
Leon.
Carson.
Leon.
Yeah.
Leon's there, not Carson.
Anybody
So
else?
this is
I'm going to continue calling
Anybody
him
else
Carson.
feel a little bit of chemistry between Dante and Tori? Just a little?
I think that
He's
Elise
married
might
and
have
has an
some
Elysian
issues.
mate.
That's the sister-in-law.
I did not feel any type of way. Actually, Tori's husband just died, so
Yeah.
no.
I don't know. In the bath, it was kind of
What
like...
are you talking about?
That's his sister-in-law.
I'm done. That would be fucked up. Majorly.
This is getting a little bit ahead. I put this question at the very end, but seeing as Leon is the first chapter in our next section, do we think that we know that they won't find Gabriel at the battlefield, but do we think that they'll find anything important there?
At the battlefield, mayhaps.
I'm assuming since she asked, then the answer is yes.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I wouldn't have considered it had you not said it, so I'm assuming that's a yeah.
I thought y'all said y'all didn't trust me anymore.
I mean, just because I said that doesn't mean I'm not listening to you. I'm playing your game, evil witch.
Are you though?
I'm playing your game. I'm here. I'm reacting.
Okay.
So Tory and Gerry decide that there are 3 missing pieces to their rebellion and they must go rescue them. And this is one of my favorite scenes, is the one where she drops out of the sky with the
it's so
sword
good.
and breaks the Acrux wards. I was like, you get him, Tory. Damn.
Yes, you put in the notes that you could see it so clearly,
Yes.
and I had the same reaction.
Yes.
I can visualize it. It is so good. I thought it was so good. This is what I meant by we're finally getting that action and the interest that we were waiting for.
Yeah.
Though before they do show up, Seth kind of says goodbye to everybody because he thinks there's no hope. Although he's like, well, Darius knows where we are.
Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't actually say, Caleb, I love you. If you really thought you were going to die, I feel like you would have said that.
Yeah, I thought he was going to. Although he did talk about adventure waiting for us beyond the stars.
Oh.
Yeah.
I noticed too, and I think it was Gerry that said it, that not on your Nelly. Is that not an Australian saying?
Not on your Nelly. I've heard that before.
I think
I don't know. I think that's British.
Like, this is the second time, but I thought it was an Australian thing, like a Crocodile Dundee thing.
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. Also, I noticed that she sounded a little more Southern in this book. She started talking and I was like, what? Oh, it's a British sitcom. Not on your
Really?
I
nose.
mean,
It's Cockney.
Australians are,
Hmm.
not all of them, much like America is not all British, but a lot of British prisoners were sent there. So a good bit of their population does have some British ancestry.
It's like a majority of their.
Yeah, but they didn't have TV back then. So, because isn't that what you said? It was a British TV show?
Yes. It's a British TV show. So the slang probably comes from that.
So Tory and Geraldine fall in and they run off Vard, who hides like a little bitch. And Tory fights the nymphs while Geraldine sews the rift back up.
Jerry and Max.
Oh my God, it was so cute.
Yeah.
I love them. And when he basically claimed Jerry in front of his dad and was like, I don't care about anything except for you, genuinely. And I just thought that was so sweet. It was what we needed to hear from him.
Dip and kiss.
Oh my gosh. She spins him
He
around.
is so in awe of her. I love that about
He
him.
is.
He completely supports her.
Devoted. Yep. Whipped. Cooked. Yep. He loves him some Jerry. And I love that.
And yeah, this was all right in front of his dad. And his dad comes up to him later, I think, and is like, so it's the Gruss girl, huh?
And he's like, yep.
Yep, that's the one for me.
Yep. And when they go save the heirs, Tory makes a point not to tell them until they're
Yeah.
safe and done about Darius.
Yeah, Jerry too. She does kind of mention that she's the only Gruss left, but doesn't mention that they even had a battle.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do end up, all the other children and the husbands of Melinda and Antonia are being held hostage in the house. So they do go rescue them. And Tory has this wonderful idea, brilliant idea, to go steal Lionel's treasure and his stardust and burn his house down.
Oh, yeah.
Genius. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. And that is the only reason I could stand Lionel's chapter, is to see him react to that.
Yeah, when she walks up to it and they're talking about how they're going to get in, I'm like, she can burn that shit down, was my first thought. And she walks through it like a badass.
Yeah, leaving a phoenix imprint in the door.
Yeah.
And Jerry writing, "Long live the motherfucking queens."
Well, the fact that he's such a moron and he thinks that she missed something and that was somehow going to be his saving grace, his
hilarious
screw you to her, even if she had missed a fucking coin, really? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
he's such an idiot.
He's a dragon.
Yeah.
He's a dragon.
He's a dumbass.
Yes,
That's what he
there
is.
you go. That's his order form, dumbass.
Actually.
Yeah.
No offense to donkeys.
Yes. Who are above Mr. Dumbass. King Dumbass.
Yeah.
So in Lionel's chapter, he does say, yeah, I'll just go take the gold from the other dragons. I'll order it.
Good. Do it.
Which is pretty
If it were me and I were a dragon and he ordered me to give up the one thing that literally
gives you power.
Gives you power, and his son barely could give up a chain.
Yeah. No. That's not going to go over well, I would think.
I would think that they would turn against him.
Yeah. Well, you would think, but I don't think they're smart enough to. I think, yeah. I don't know what you would call it. I really don't. I am at a loss to why people would follow somebody like that. But, you know, whatever works for you. But one part I wanted... Vard, I was like, hello, Captain Obvious. When Lionel comes home and he's like, forgive me, sire, the Vega girl was here. No shit.
You don't say, Vard. Like, what?
I'm pretty sure he figured that one out on his own.
I saw her coming in a vision out of the sky.
No, from up there. Oh, he's so pathetic now. I mean, he was always pathetic, but
Yeah.
extra pathetic.
We do learn, though, that even though he's a shitty seer, he somehow managed to get a vision of where the burrows was, and that's how Lionel found out.
Something's
Where
fucked
they
up
were.
about that.
Yeah.
Something's fucked up about that because he makes it sound
Yeah,
like this
that's
is
weird.
just weirdly specific for him.
Either that or it's the stars like, let's fuck with them and give Bart a vision for once in his life.
Oh, no.
Well, I thought it's implied at the beginning of the book that somebody betrayed them. So do we think somebody betrayed
Yes.
them?
That's it.
Who do we think it is, though?
Mhm.
Justin? No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Yes,
After
Xavier.
Justin's
Nope,
chapter.
he's a psychopath that he is one step up from being on Criminal Minds. I'm telling you, something is fucked up with that boy.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think he's just weird
No,
like Gerry.
No, psychopath.
I don't know. We'll see. He is the only one that's unaccounted for in general. So he's never included in the books. Up until this point, we haven't gotten a POV from him. He's very weird. This is the first time we've seen him in any way besides just being mentioned in passing. So I'm like, what's going on? What's going on with Justin? I don't know.
Momsy. I didn't allow my
Like
thoughts to
Gerry.
linger on my nummy pouch. I'm sure you know where my mind went for that.
I am speechless, Christy.
Here, it was what I thought. I thought someone was fucking high when they wrote this chapter.
Okay, this, you know what this reminds me of is if you read these books with a British accent, they make so much more sense.
Nummy pouch.
My nummy pouch.
You should hear it in the audiobook.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. The man is wild.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna eat my nummies. My nummies.
No wonder Gerry didn't like him. Ugh.
Mommy said
Ugh.
never to leave the house without my nummy pouch.
Immediate ick.
Well, there's a
I'm
Criminal
sorry.
Minds where the guy loses his mother. I don't know how she dies. It doesn't go through that, but she was some sort of like half-baked starlet, and then she got pregnant, and it was like 40s era or something. And so he starts killing girls and cutting off their lips and putting it on the corpse of the mother who he still has so he could kiss. And I was like, that is Justin. That is Justin.
I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know what to say to that. Mommy issues does usually mean serial killer
Right.
vibes, though.
I'm telling you. Even if they don't write it in the book.
Yeah.
I can't.
For men.
I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about him next section.
Dude, if he wipes out all of those nymphs out of some crazy serial killer frenzy. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, so speaking of Justin, he is in the air with that leaf parachute thing, and he's got a giant horde of nymphs following him.
That he's about to go frenzy on.
Or potentially lead them to the rebels. You never know what's going to happen.
I don't know why, but I just imagined him based off of y'all's impressions of him wearing a giant diaper.
I can't. I can't.
Justin waddling in his diaper back to the rebels, leading them. Okay, guys, let's go. Mommy's gonna be so happy with me.
Now I'm picturing
is
Jerry
if-
picking him up like a baby.
Oh no.
That is
Oh, did you notice that he uses caterpillar terms? He like munching.
Oh, yeah. He's like the boy version of her.
He's a bug. I know. That's what I was saying. Is the way he talks.
that is if he can find the rebels, because they did say that they only sent out one beacon of come here, and it was specifically for the Vega
Sorry.
line.
Gondor calls for aid.
A bunch of hookers show up. Right.
Oh my god.
Wait, wrong button.
Wrong beacon. Wrong beacon. Take it down.
Marguerite, why are you here?
Oh my god. Oh, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. She's cool later.
Oh, wait, who was the other one?
Okay,
Who's
anyway.
the crappy one? Yeah,
Kylie?
there we go, Kylie. There we go. Insert Kylie.
Yeah, okay, Kylie, you can
Okay.
go home.
Okay, so Jerry and Tory bring the heirs back home and break the news to them. I will admit that I bawled through Caleb's chapter.
I might actually start crying now.
Yeah, his pain was so real.
I said this in our group chat, but I think that Caleb was the right one to show the POV for in this moment. I think that, one, he's probably the most sensitive besides Max. And I also think that his thoughts and the way that he took it all in is a lot like how we're taking it in to see them grieve. And it was so heart-wrenching. I cried a little bit too. It hit me harder than I thought it was going to. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And
because I think we expected Darius to die, but I was not prepared for their reactions to his death.
Yeah. Especially for Seth. I think I was kind of surprised at him. I understood it and I get it. He's not going to continue to hate him. I think he's just so hurt. But I was a little surprised that he was the one.
I agree.
It's the anger part of grieving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with them both. I think Seth is right.
I do
on
too.
some level. And I understand his anger, but I also agree with Caleb in that's you can't think of it that way. That's not wholly correct. I totally agree.
Yeah, I think I said, to be fair, Seth ain't wrong. Darius knew that his death would break Tory, break the other heirs, break Orion, his mom, and his brother, and it was a price that he was willing to pay, even though others would have to also pay. Even to the point where, when the rifts were closed, he wanted to rush off and fight Lionel, knowing he might lose. He was reckless. But Caleb is also right. He's just angry at this point. And I've been there when I had a boyfriend who was abusive. And then after he left me, he would still call me and I would still answer. And then one day I got a phone call from him. And I decided enough was enough, so I didn't answer. And he ended up shooting himself. And I don't know if he shot himself because I didn't answer or if maybe I could have talked him down. But I hated him for a minute and then I would hate myself for hating him. And it's just all too relatable.
It's survivor's guilt. A lot of people feel that way afterwards. You feel angry at the person for doing that to everyone that loved them. You feel hurt that they would do that, but then you feel angry at yourself for blaming them in a way. It's complex. And I think that they're all feeling those things. When Max fell to the ground and yelled, that was the moment that I teared up.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think they're angry too because they feel like if
imagine.
he had told them sooner, they may have been able to do something about it. They may have been able to help him.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And people do talk about the 5 stages of grief as if you go through them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you don't. You go 1, 3, 4, 3, 5, 6, not really 6, but and it never really goes away. So
yeah, definitely. But they all get together and Caleb comforts Tory, which is really beautiful. And then they all
make a memorial tree for him.
Yeah.
Right over his coffin.
Which, okay, let me back up a second, is a little bit cheesy. The dragon tree is a little cheesy.
The gold dragon tree?
How, from their tears falling to the earth, that was the part that got me, okay? But it's really sweet, and the whole chapter was very sweet, and you see a different side of the boys that you don't always see.
Yeah, they seem not to insult them, because I know this would, but more human.
Yeah.
Serious for Seth.
Definitely.
I mean, usually, no matter what is happening, he's funny. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He does not joke around basically this entire section. He is very somber, and when we first get his point of view, he's saying goodbye. He's like, I'm dying, goodbye. Yeah. And then he's angry. And he's sad, and
I am so ready for them to just somebody say something between him and Caleb. Come on.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I totally agree. Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, it's time.
First of all, it was so cute that they fell asleep holding hands. That ruined me. And then when they wake up and they have this horrible fight, it actually pissed me off to high heavens, because not only is this miscommunication trope going on way longer than it needs to, it's infuriating to read, but also I feel like Caleb and Seth would not do this to each other. I could see them both getting angry and having to work that out. That's not what's unrealistic here. What's unrealistic to me is that at some point, one of them would say something to each other. Caleb would say something, or Seth would let something slip, or I cannot see it lasting this long. And for them to have their first moment together that is kind of
More than just a blowjob.
more than just a blowjob. And when they're angry at each other and they're saying that they're using each other, it cheapens this. Pisses me off, actually, because that is so fucked up. And they care about each other. And it is infuriating.
It is. I did not like it. I'm not a big fan of angry sex. I mean, if it was a flirty angry, that would be fine. But this is like angry hate.
Well, for
Grieving.
Seth to be like, do it, Cal. Use me. And for Cal to not stop and be like,
maybe I shouldn't use you.
Yeah, well.
Maybe I shouldn't make you think I'm using you.
Well, yeah, to be like, I can't do this when you're upset with me, or I can't make any sense of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were quick, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was mostly talking and grieving. It was more words than necessary.
Yeah. A lot of mine was like, okay, stop with the emotional stuff. Let's get to the planning. And I get it. Like you said, they totally have the right to feel that way. But, you know, you're...
Feel it while doing stuff.
There you go. Perfect. Exactly.
Be productive.
So yeah, that fucking sucks because they're right now, I really think that they need each other.
You do.
And
yeah.
I just can't, I understand they're really upset, but it's hard for me to believe they would treat each other like that after this when they care about each other enough. And Caleb's always so thoughtful to stop and be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's just hard. But when people are grieving, they do weird things.
But it's still odd. They just lost someone that they loved. And then that's usually the time that people are the most likely to express feelings like that because, you know, life is short. So it was a little odd that they went the opposite way with it. I don't know. I didn't understand.
That could have been the perfect moment to be like, actually, I don't care that we're both heirs and that it's not right. I love you.
Yeah, exactly. And it would make sense for them to say, I can't do this without you. I lost someone I care about. I thought back there that I was going to lose you because we almost died. I have to tell you this and be honest with you. No.
Yeah.
We got none of that. I'm sorry. I actually was so pissed off when I read it. I had to text Brittany because I didn't know if Christy had read it. And I was like, Brittany! It was so bad.
So I want to point out that, remember how I said, in this world, when you have strong feelings or you're thinking about somebody who's passed away, it can bring them back as a spirit from the dead when literally they're thinking about Darius right before they do this.
So are you telling me that in Behind the Veil, he got a front row seat to that?
He sure did. He sure absolutely did. Imagine how taken aback he was.
I'm just saying it might have happened, but it might not have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you brought it up, so it happened.
Okay, witch. Keep your secrets. Yeah, that's, I would like to be a fly on the wall for that.
For Darius witnessing it, or
for Darius witnessing
just the show itself.
Oh no, I already read that. I was there.
But like, I mean, visually, peep show.
I feel like they'd be into it, honestly.
Yeah, Seth would.
Yeah, I was talking about Seth and Caleb.
Seth would definitely. I don't know about Caleb.
I don't think.
Yeah, Caleb's a little possessive.
Caleb's also a very private person.
Moving on.
So we already talked about Justin and Lionel. So let's talk about Milton. He's still back at school and, you know.
You know what's so funny? When we had the Justin POV at the beginning, I wrote in my notes, we got Justin, but we haven't gotten Milton. I literally wrote that in my notes and was like, interesting. And then 10 chapters later, we got Milton. I was like, okay.
But how fucking weird is that they're still in class? That school is going on while this war is being fought.
Okay.
And students are disappearing.
Yeah. Who fucking leaves your kids in class?
Well, what this made me realize is that Milton is Neville.
He is. He is.
Milton is Neville.
Oh
He's
my
the one leading the
gosh.
resistance back at the academy. So this is just that scene whenever Harry comes in and is like, or that we see in the movie, when Harry comes back to the school and he leads them into this secret passageway, and Neville's been moving the resistance by himself for so long. I realized it
And they're hiding
in this chapter.
in the room of requirement, I think.
Yeah.
And in here, they're hiding in some cave.
The undercover ass.
Yeah.
Undercover
The
ass.
undercover ass.
And
Oh,
who
man.
thought when Marguerite comes to the door, who thought it was going to be a trick?
Well, I thought they were getting caught. I thought they were getting caught in the moment.
Real quick, though, in the beginning, he gets a message in his horoscope, an unexpected alliance with an Aries.
That must be Marguerite.
I was going to say,
Because-
you put there's only one. I was like, well, there's two.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was trying to think the whole time. I was like, there's only one that we know of. But I had forgotten she existed. So,
Yeah, Marguerite is an Aries. I get Lionel and Hale and Marguerite.
those are a lot of big, powerful people, though.
Marguerite's not that powerful.
I can't remember who I got. I remember it was really shitty.
2 out of 3.
That was like Washer or something.
You're a Virgo. Who's a Virgo? I get Caleb.
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know who was a Virgo in the...
It was somebody crappy. Yeah.
I think it was
like
Nova.
yeah.
Nova.
I had like no good ones. Yeah. We were not well represented. I am offended.
I'm looking it up.
Offended
Let's
writers.
see.
Catalina. Catalina is a Virgo.
Oh, never mind.
Hell,
okay.
Yeah.
I think when we told you that, she was still plastic Catalina.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
still
Okay.
not the character we love. And
Okay.
no.
Well, then never mind. I take back my offense. I am happy.
Well, Johan's a Sag, so he'd be Milton.
But we like Milton.
I do like Milton. It's just funny to me.
In this chapter, in the notes, I literally went, fucking High Spell. Fucking Mildred. Fucking Gus.
Please
Yeah, that's fair.
tell me, and don't actually tell me, but please tell me that Mildred gets hers.
I'm waiting for High Spell to get hers.
Yeah.
This
Mildred
might be
is so
a slight spoiler, but I do not know their fates.
because you haven't read the
Okay.
last one.
Because I haven't read the last one.
We'll see. We'll see.
But Milton is in High Spells class, and Bernice is there.
Oh, yeah.
She's one of his
Oh.
prospective cows.
And bovine.
The cow language in this.
I did
That's
notice,
my heifer.
sadly, I did notice that they lost her accent in this one.
Yeah.
She didn't have an accent.
She didn't. I think they
I was
forgot.
very sad.
We haven't seen
Yeah.
Bernice since what, book 3?
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Jersey? I don't really know what
Oh, no,
this accent
Bernice.
is.
Bernice
I
was
just-
Jersey. Okay.
Yeah. That was
Right.
her accent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Did I,
something
get
like
it,
that.
did I get it wrong?
You doing
Okay.
the accent reminded me because you did it before. And then I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
her. Because I forgot. Okay.
Yeah, she's the bomb.
Cheerleading, Bernice. And the whole, that's my cow. That's my heifer. Ooh,
Oh,
her
that
udders
killed
almost
me.
took out her
Oh
eye.
my god. I was like, not her udders.
Oh, speaking of udders, I forgot to mention.
Yes.
Did y'all
Speaking of
notice
udders.
that Geraldine's breastplate nipples almost took out 2 allies? I think that breastplate nipple almost took out more friends than foes.
Her bazongas are dangerous. Her bouncing betties. They're dangerous. Oh, have you guys ever seen that challenge about the accent challenge?
Mm-mm.
I was thinking of this when we were listening to Geraldine. It's like the accent challenge for the South, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you say you don't have a Southern accent, but you can't say this phrase.
Oh, I think I have, yeah.
I tried
What's
to
the
say it,
phrase?
and I could not say it.
What's the phrase?
Well, I'm going to try to say it for you. It's, if I say it in a regular speed, it comes out extremely Southern. 5 bowls of boiling oil.
5 bowls of boiling oil.
5 bowls of boiling oil.
Yeah, I have to morph my mouth to make it sound like that.
You have to try.
5
bowls.
bowls.
5 bowls of boiling oil.
Of boiling
5
oil.
bowls of boiling oil. Okay.
Boiling.
But if
boiling.
Yeah. But if I say it like normal, it's 5 bowls of boiling oil.
Really?
5 bowls of boiling oil.
Yeah. 5 bowls of boiling oil.
If I think about
I'm
it,
not
I can
Southern.
say it, right?
I'm not Southern. You can't tell. I've worked hard on this shit.
Yeah, I can't. You did great. Apparently, I didn't do enough because I was shocked when I said it out loud, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I can't say it." 5 bowls of boiling oil. 5 bowls of boiling oil.
5 bowls of boiling oil.
Pretend you're like a newscaster.
So
5 bowls of boiling oil.
And I feel like Gerry would say 5 bowls of boiling oil.
Mm-hmm.
She would totally.
Actually, that's too simple. I don't think she would say that. I think there would be a whole lot of other shit in there.
She'd be like,
"You're so right."
Shrimp and salmon and
She'd
salamander.
throw a bunch of random shit in there.
Maybe a turnip or 2.
5 blessed and blundering oil bowls. I don't know. A bunch of different weird words thrown in there.
All right. Well,
anyways,
during this class with High Spell, fucking Mildred has to brag about eating people.
Mildred, read the fucking room, bitch.
I don't think she cares.
She doesn't.
Oh, she has read the room. I think she enjoys the reaction.
Yeah.
High Spell wanted the reaction. She did it specifically to get Milton and Bernice to react or somebody to react. And then she was like, well, we don't want to offend people, so let's not put that in there.
Yeah, she's like, we can't condone murder. However, we can talk about how people will respond to murder.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you freak.
Also, what did y'all think about the ghost hands down her back?
Oh. I immediately went, Dorian? Hello? I was like, oh my god, I missed you. It's been so long. I liked it. I just like Milton in this whole chapter. We didn't get to see this side of him before now, and
yeah,
I like him.
And I love the fact that, he does learn that Darius is gone. And he was like, even though Darius and I had a falling out, I still love him. I still consider myself one of his friends.
Yeah.
And I still support the Vega Queens.
Yeah, which is surprising, actually.
Yeah. And, of course, Seth's pack is now in the undercover ass as well. And I wrote in my notes, shut up, Frank.
Shut up, Frank.
Just shut up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then the cunts are coming.
Yeah, they pulled that back out, didn't
Wait,
they?
what was the last line? Did they bag themselves a cunt? Did the undercover asses bag themselves a cunt?
No. Yeah. That's so funny.
But yeah, so Marguerite informs them that the cunts are coming and lets them get away. And Milton's like, why? And she was like, because I loved him and he killed him.
Yeah, I feel for her there. I mean, we dogged on her in the first few books, but that doesn't mean that she didn't actually have feelings for him. Just,
Is she going to join the rebels? Don't answer that.
Well, they said they bagged a cunt. I'm assuming.
Well, I meant like in the actual fight, if she's going to join.
I would think so, to her limited ability. Yeah.
She may love Darius, but can she bring herself to take orders from a Vega after the way she treated them?
I think she can.
I think she'll overlook it. If she can overlook this, if she can go out of her way to find the undercover ass, then I think so.
Do you think that she'll end up being a decent person?
I think she'll be an ally. I don't necessarily know if she has all of her priorities straight, but I think she's an ally for now.
You know who she'd be perfect for? Justin.
Who?
Right? What kind of ally would that be? She's going to test him out and make sure that he rides right.
If Justin is a serial killer, like you said, is that really right to Marguerite?
But we would know. At least we would know. Someone has to make the sacrifice.
When Justin kills someone we care about, you won't be laughing.
Well, we don't care about Marguerite, do we? Yet.
I said when he kills someone we care about. I didn't say Marguerite.
Well, he'll kill her, and then they'll be like, oh, yep, we knew he was bad. All right. And then Gerry will kill him with her nipples.
It's so fucked with her nipples.
You had to say that when I was drinking?
Her udders. Yo, we're off the rails this episode. Oh, gosh.
Oh, man. Okay. So,
With her flying fuck.
Mm-hmm.
her flying fuck and her dangerous nipples
Yeah.
impaling people.
Yeah.
Okay. So, now that the counselors are free, they have officially joined the rebels, and they're not really taking the power structure too well.
No. I think they need to drop them
Yeah,
off at
they're
Lionel's
really-
fucking door.
Yeah, you guys didn't learn anything from that whole situation? I would think after that I would be like, oh, you're so right. We have to take this man out.
Yeah,
Well, I think that they want to work against Lionel. They just think that they should be in charge.
right. He did this shit on their fucking watch. I'm pretty sure they're like the last fucking people that should be leading.
Yeah,
Great.
literally. The
Well,
people who
great.
saved you. Uh-huh.
I doubt that Caleb, Max, and Seth are going to let them drop their parents off at Lionel's door, though.
Well, I guess so, but...
Although Caleb puts himself, as he always does, because he is perfect, he puts himself on the chopping block to tell them about the coven when they start in on Tory.
He does.
He
Actually,
does.
he's just so good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, Chrissy is right. I was reading it and I was like, he is the perfect one.
Well, when they do have this council meeting, first of all, he walks in shirtless.
Which, come on now.
And second of all, both he and Xavier put themselves in the middle as go-betweens between
Right.
the twins and the counselors.
Yeah.
And Xavier tells them, I'm on their side.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not doing what you want me to do.
Yeah, they're not going to have anybody follow them. I mean, again, this all happened on their watch. They are the last people to
I mean,
leave.
Even after...
Tori is Xavier's sister-in-law. And also, Tori and Darcy are both the sister of Caleb's cousin-in-law. So,
Yeah,
I mean, granted, yeah, Melinda's his mom. But
still.
And
Yeah.
I was, of course, wrong. Max was not the first to
About?
bow.
But Caleb
that
doesn't bow.
scene was fucking perfect.
I don't know. I don't know if he doesn't bow, but I don't know if I would say I would count that.
But he very specifically, this is why I put that picture in there. He very specifically says, then I offer myself to you in any way that I can be of service to you in fulfilling that vow to bring.
So you're telling me he's not bowing to
He's-
her in this moment?
he's not
You're telling me
bowing.
that later that's bull.
It says, I offer it through blood, duty, honor, or sacrifice. I am yours to command in pursuit of this end. He's very
Then this is
specific.
the fault. Then this is a fault of the writers, because what is the point in having him say that and then not being fully, completely on her side? That's
well,
bullshit.
here's the thing.
That's bullshit.
I'm going to refuse to hear that. And I'm going to think.
You're like, I'm
He is
ignoring
bowed.
this.
It's good.
That's so relatable, Christy.
It's a good vow, but it's also much like the heirs and the twins are working together towards the end of getting rid of Lionel. It doesn't make them on the same side
Right.
as who gets the throne. Caleb here is like, oh, you're going to do something about the fate of Darius and you and all that. Well, I'm on your side. I'm helping you in this.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I say this is bullshit is because he would be on her side for that anyway.
Yeah.
He would.
There doesn't need to be a declaration for that. So for there to be a whole beautiful moment between them and then it not actually mean what we assume as the readers it would mean, which is he's there to support her.
But
I feel like it's a little
Mhm.
unfair to make it like this.
he does make this a star vow, I believe.
I think
I
you
don't
said that
think
before.
so.
But we just knew by saying that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So nobody has ever brought anybody back to life before in this world. So it's an unknown magic. It doesn't exist to them, but they've made star promises, and star promises have consequences if you don't fulfill them.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
for him to make this star promise, it's kind of like, in this pursuit, I am with you, no matter what, even if it destroys me.
I still feel like the point that I made stands, though, because he would have been by her side regardless. He didn't need to make a star promise. But I see what you're saying is that they're setting it up for him to potentially fail and break a star promise. But I think it's bullshit because it's sad that we're still doing this 7-8 books in.
Well, especially after all that's happened and that she has proven she's a leader.
Yes. It's infuriating.
To be fair, though,
Really
all of them except for Darius aren't necessarily bowing, but they, like you pointed out in a previous episode, they are treating the twins like they're equals. Maybe they would eventually one day be open to even ruling together, especially now that Darius is gone.
Right.
Whereas the counselors still see the girls who just got here from the human world like they're little insects to be squashed. So how do you think Tori's going to respond to that?
Did they not see Tori break that fucking ward? That was crazy.
Yeah.
I think
And I was
more
like,
though.
how do you-
Crazy.
I don't know. I didn't see it so much as that they were treating Tori that way as they were treating all of them like they were still children. That's
true.
We're the
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
We're here to make the big decisions. You can just wait your turn. And the fact of the matter is it is their turn. The adults fucked it up. They didn't do what they should have done.
Right.
And now the kids have to clean up their mess. So that's the way
Agreed.
I kind
You're
of
so
took it.
right.
Agreed.
Yeah, you're so right.
You are.
Yeah.
But my question was, how do you think Tori is going to respond to that? And do you think the heirs will fall in line behind their parents?
No.
No, I don't think that they will. If they do, it's going to be within limitations. I would say, I think Tori's going to fuck off and do what she wants to do.
Yeah. That's the gist of
Yeah.
mine. I felt like the extent of her response is going to be suck it, donkey. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when she was putting the runes in the table, I think that's an indicator of where her mind is. That she doesn't give a fuck about these politics. She does not give a fuck about what they want. Her mind is very focused on getting Darius back and killing Lionel.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with her.
Again, that growth, because I think in the past,
Yeah.
she would have jumped across the table. So
Yeah.
I think the fact that she was just like, you're not worth my time was huge.
Or at
Yeah.
least in the past, she would have, argued back for no good reason. Like, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. And she knows that now. She knows that by giving them like a little argument would not have mattered because she's going to do what she wants. Yeah.
And
because she's the queen.
I do want to say that the heirs and the twins' relationship has changed. While I don't think that they would fully bow to each other, I do think that they respect each other
I agree.
and whatnot.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have. I mean, Caleb comforts Tori immediately, and Max, he tries to comfort her too. I think that their relationships are different, and I love that. And I think that's why it's infuriating to be like, ugh, you're telling me it's not what I think it is?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's gotten to the point where they're willing to concede the race, but they're also not like, well, I'm going to be in charge anyway. They're going along with Tori's leadership. So it's kind of an implied bow, but at the same time, not. It's weird.
Yeah, but how cool would it be when Tori and Darcy reach queen level if she doesn't allow them to bow? Like, we are equals fighting together. You don't bow. I don't know.
That's what Orion kind of proposed, that they rule together. And I don't see why they can't rule together if they're queens and they're counselors.
Yeah.
That's how they ruled in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
All right. So going all the way back to chapter 1, let's talk about Darcy and Orion. Darcy left the battlefield in shadow beast form and
does a lot of whining.
Yeah, she finds herself in this middle of a mountain, I think, or the lake, and it's cold, and she's got shadow dressed and shadow hair, and she whines basically the entire first chapter.
I zoned out. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Darcy.
well, there was one part though. And I know how
Yeah.
hard I am on Darcy. I'm usually not a big Darcy fan, but I love that she cuts through the bullshit with the stars. Like, she doesn't revere them. She doesn't see them as benevolent sources. Instead, she calls them out for their sick need to watch a show. And basically is like, I'll give you one. And I
thought that was so
love
dramatic.
that part. I actually love that part.
Yeah. No.
But I could just see her like, this is what you want. I'll give you a show. I was like, oh, this is drama.
Just
This
be
is
like,
literally drama.
Fuck you, bitches!
Yeah. But there is some important moments in this first chapter. One of them being her conversation with her parents.
Who wouldn't tell her anything?
Which I felt weird about. Yeah.
Okay.
So I gotta say, if Marissa could have a vision of her daughter in the future and know that her daughter's in trouble, why? I mean, I get it. Lionel was covered up by the shadows or whatever, but it couldn't have been covered all the time. Why did she not know that he was bad?
Well, okay. In Marissa's defense, let's say she did have an inkling that she knew more things than maybe is letting on. In order for things to go the way they're going, potentially she has to go with it.
That's true.
For fate to work out the way that it does. So I would think that maybe she did know more, but
She
maybe
knew that
she had to
Orion
keep
was
it to
her
herself.
daughter's mate. Sorry.
Yep, exactly. So she knew that she could only mess with so much, which is what she keeps telling to Hale when they're having this conversation with Darcy. She's like, chill out, don't say anything. And I think what
He's like, that's my baby girl.
Right? Why not?
Yeah.
Let's change the future. Come on. If it were
It
your
could be
kid, I
worse.
would be like, listen, go to this place, do this, do that, kill him, and then we're all good.
the butterfly effect, man, the butterfly effect can be bad.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It could have ended up worse, maybe.
Yeah.
Then do not trust me with time machine shit because I will change everything.
Oh, trust me, if I had a time machine, I'd go back to 9/11 and be like, evacuate the towers now, land these flights.
You're like, I would go back and make sure Lincoln didn't die. I would also go back and
Be like,
free all the slaves.
excuse me, but also this is gonna happen on this day. I'd go see who Jack the Ripper was.
You're like, all of these things I would do.
Yeah.
I would go back and solve world hunger.
You know, in the Constitution, you need to write.
This.
Women should be included.
Yeah.
That's when you pull out the I'm a god from the future, bitch. And you gotta figure this out. I mean, I feel like you could do it. You could handle it. If you're really gonna change shit,
Bring it
change
back.
shit.
I'd go back and video things and then take it back and be like, see, this didn't actually happen. Okay. Anyway, where were we?
We were
Okay.
talking about Hale
Hale and Marissa.
Hale and Darcy and Marissa.
We do find out that she also kind of views Hamish as a father.
Which I thought was weird because you didn't have that much time with him.
And especially how he treated Orion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a weird addition. Honestly, I thought her whole conversation with them was weird because why did she immediately... This is the first time
Yeah.
she's had the conversation with them. I thought your first thought is to talk to them about the war.
And also, what did we learn?
Nothing.
Right. I feel like I understand her wanting to know if everyone's alive. I get that. But I think it would come after her being like, oh my God, Mom, I've never met you before, and be overwhelmed because this is your first time talking to your parents. Like, yeah, you've seen them in visions and stuff, but you're having a conversation with them.
Yeah. And I think the purpose of this conversation was to be like, you know, you're feeling hopeless, but all hope is not lost. But
Right.
I feel like it could have been accomplished in a different way.
Yes, because Marissa
Yeah.
sounded just like you, Brittany. It may not.
Oh my
they
God.
might be alive, but they might not be in hell.
Dying. I'm
I was
fucking
like,
dying.
Fucking Brittany.
I'm the seer of this group. I have forward knowledge. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't answer that at this time. Try again later.
Exactly. Yes.
Magic 8 ball.
Brittany is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
magic
pretty
8
much.
ball. Yes. That won't
Great,
answer.
great. That's-
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's most of what happened in chapter 1 was she is cold and she talked to her parents. And then
But she saw a light, a silver light,
that's
right?
later. Lavinia,
Oh, I thought we
says-
also saw it in chapter 1.
well, yeah, there was that falling star during the battle.
That's what it was. That's probably what it was.
And I think it's at the bottom of the lake.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah,
it kind of
but-
talk to her?
Lavinia
later.
Yeah, Lavinia says that she can summon Darcy. And so then later on in chapter 15, we get the falling stars actually calling to Darcy, and she goes into the lake to talk to it. And
Which is bold in that snow.
Yeah, and it
girl.
says something like fate is unbalanced. And
Yeah.
she yells at it and it's like, why do you hate me? And the star reveals that Clydenius is the wrath of Clydenius wove their fates. And
that the promise has to be kept.
Yeah, he wants them to keep the broken
If
promise.
they don't fucking say what this promise is pretty soon, I don't care.
I know, right?
Yeah. Who is Clydenius?
The amount of blue balling that goes on in this fucking book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. It's like, what? Tell me more about Clydenius. No, don't die. Don't die, you stupid fucking star. Okay.
I know. Oh, yeah. It's so annoying. It was so fucking, yeah. I thought Imperial Star all over. I don't know.
Yeah. They're bold.
So the star does release its energy and its magic back into the world. That's how the Fae have magic. But a wealth of memory does go through Darcy's head, and unfortunately she's not allowed to keep any of it that we know of. What?
Sorry. Just like shit going right out of Darcy's head. Yep. Sorry.
Right.
And then she feels Lavinia's pull, and she's summoned back to the palace, where she finds Orion.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I was honestly very surprised that they're reunited so soon. I assumed that they would, even if it's, in this shitty situation, I assumed the authors would make us suffer a bit more about their relationship, but at least they are able to see each other. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and we did skip over the Orion chapter earlier, I believe.
Right.
Where Orion is now in this cage.
Before the cage, though, when he was coming in, or was it at the cage, where he tells Lionel about Darius Vega?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He sees Gabriel and he informs Orion that Darius is dead, and he's like, Darius Vega was 10 times the man you were, or something like that. And he's like,
hell yeah.
What
And
the
he's
hell
like,
did you just
Darius
say?
Vega?
Yeah, there was one part with Darcy where she's fighting with Lionel, and I loved what she tells him, that, and I'm really loving her with the truths in this particular section. I know she's kind of whiny, but there's a couple things that she just let fly. And she says, all they'll see is a coward who can't face me with my true power intact. I'm cursed by your queen. She's the one who has made it even possible for you to face me.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true.
And you'll have nothing and no one when you die, and I'll have so many people waiting for me.
I don't actually think he cares about that.
Yeah, no, he responds with, the stars will make a golden throne for me in the sky.
Talk about delusional. Yeah.
He has delusions. We also learn when Orion first gets there that Lionel has taken Xavier's wings and he's having them mounted in the dining room. And
just like Hunt.
Yeah.
Except for that broke my heart a little more with Hunt.
Oh my god, Xavier hater.
Gabriel does say, there is hope, Oreo. Have faith in the flames.
Yeah. Faith in the phoenixes.
When Darcy does show up, she doesn't understand why Orion won't fight back. And this is where she does get in her little whiny phase a little bit again.
Yeah.
Where she's like, just do something. He doesn't know who I am. He's not paying attention to me. He must be possessed. He's not paying attention to me. He must be possessed.
Yeah.
She does later on tell him she's not mad for making the deal. And I cannot believe that I'm the fucking one taking up for Darcy.
I will give her that.
She does,
but
yeah.
I will give her that. But in this section, I was just like, fuck you, Darcy. Just shut up.
Yeah, she was really whiny.
She's gotten better.
She was really whiny.
Well, she's gotten a lot better, but every once in a while I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely get it.
But I think, at this point, though, I don't think it's an issue with the character. I think it's just an issue with the
repeat.
plot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What did y'all think about that lovely kiss?
Oh, bleh. Poor girl, poor Darcy, having to witness that.
Or Orion for having to experience that.
Experience that. Now, I will say that I was surprised that the stars stepped in here.
Oh, when she tries to rape him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And that's later, but
What
it's
have
the
you got
Elysian
down there?
bond.
It's glowing. I had to go back and read that. I was like, surely I'm reading this wrong. His pants are glowing.
No, it feels like yeah, no, the Elysian bond protects him from being raped, which
really?
begs the question. You remember when Lionel Dark coerced Dante into sleeping with Juniper and impregnating her? Had Tory not been there, would that have happened to him?
So it just turns their junk into a lantern? Well, I don't understand how that stops
I'm assuming it caused her pain because she stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what that brings to mind for me is Catalina, because her Elysian mate, wait, never mind.
They weren't
She's
Elysian
not
mates.
Lionel's Elysian mates.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. But yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah. It's got a super dick.
It's like, okay, the stars will let other people get raped, but
not Elysian mates.
Elysian mates are special? Okay,
Yeah.
that's a little fucked.
Because the stars put them together.
It's,
The stars are like, I chose you two to be together, so...
This place is so illogical. I don't even know why I'm asking anymore.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
What did y'all think about the memory that Orion has of young Darius and the heirs?
I thought it was very sweet that he was remembering Darius and his friendship. And he says in the chapter that they were meant to be friends. They were meant to grow up side by side. And I thought that was just so sweet. Orion and Darius have always had a good relationship, but it was for a while put into question because they had that bond forced upon them. But I didn't really think of them being Nebular allies for that reason.
And the heirs wanted Orion there in the beginning. And it was fucking Lionel who kicked him out.
Yeah.
And I will say this little itty bitty spoiler for Beyond the Veil. Darius does have a conversation with Azrael, Orion's dad. And Azrael admits that he thought that Darius and Orion would end up together.
Right?
Oh my god.
So glad it's not just me. You're so cute.
I mean, everybody would agree with that. If Darcy had not come into play, I could see that.
Yeah, so Orion's dad was totally for, is it Larius? Larius.
No, Darion.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Darion.
Yeah. Or Darrence. Oh my gosh.
I also put in here, this was totally just a side note, but do these people own anything other than smart pants?
No, for real, what the fuck is a smart pant?
I think we asked that early
What are smart
on
pants?
because they had...
We did, but we thought it was a typo.
Apparently smart pants
thought
are
it
a
was a
real
typo.
thing.
I don't know.
Like what? What do the British know that we don't?
Are there dumb pants?
Right? Anyway, I'm assuming they're slacks or some kind of dress
Smartly
pant.
dressed.
I think
maybe
so.
all
I think so,
pressed
yeah.
and
Right. Exactly.
They do have a moment when Darcy and Orion are in the cage and he goes to pet her hair and it turns blue again.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Wonder...
Is it like a glimmer of herself coming through?
Yeah. Wonder what that means.
yeah, that's what I'm assuming is at some point she is going to
Rebirth?
not get rid of the shadows, but she's going to take control of them. I think she is going to take control of them and get them away from Lavinia.
Well, there's a moment in one of these chapters where she pulls her power back.
And I think I had said that in a previous podcast that I felt like she
You
was
did.
going to start to control the shadows.
I think you did.
I'll have to go back.
I think you've said that multiple times,
I'll have to go back and
actually.
look at that. But yeah, I think that might be what has happened.
Yeah.
I did want to. So one part that really pissed me off is when, and I can't remember if it's with the falling star or at some other point, but it was in a Darcy chapter and it started out with cruelty is a construct of Fae, not us. I think it was the falling star. And I was like, bullshit. You
Yeah, that seems unlikely.
fuckers are cruel.
They're trying to claim that they're
Neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they're neutral, but they're not. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Even neutral, you can be cruel for being neutral.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
And how were they
that's why-
neutral if Clyde Diaz or whatever his name is created that setup for them? Doesn't that mean you're not neutral if you're actually creating scenarios?
Clydenius. Yeah. If he can curse future generations, that's not... I don't know.
Did I ask who do y'all think Clydenius is?
A jackass?
No. I'm assuming an ancestor, some kind of ancestor of theirs.
Is that who the stars are? Is the ancestors? I thought they were some other kind of being. I think I was looking at it a little bit like
There's
Crescent
there's
City.
some other kind of being.
Okay.
I'm assuming Clydenius is an ancestor from the Vega line, somewhere along the line.
That fucked up.
Yeah, that fucked up. Your whole family's cursed for generations. You and your cow.
Avalon.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where Darcy does learn that Darius is dead, and they both think Gerry is dead. And she kind of makes it about herself. Like, if only I was there, I could have stopped it. And I was like, bitch, please.
I don't think... Okay, I didn't read it that way. I did not read it that way. I read it as a kind of...
Survivor's
what?
guilt.
Yeah, kind of like what Seth and Caleb were feeling in a way, where it's like, if we had known, if we had been able to do something, stuff like that. More like, I wish I had been able to do more. Not that she was making it about herself, but
I was in a
I
mood.
don't typically read it that way.
I can't really say because when we kind of started repeating over and over, I started skipping a little bit.
Oh my God.
I would look for important words.
Christy was like, I got bored. I just moved on.
And we're
So,
still
Lionel's-
bitching, and we're still okay. Here we go.
So they're in the cage, and they hear Lionel's voice booming throughout the palace.
Oh my God!
Do you think this was an accident, or did he mean
No.
to do that?
He probably
And
wants
who
to
was
hear his fucking
responsible?
voice. He probably walks around all the time screaming. Yeah.
Because
Well,
we saw in
I
the memory that he used magic to make his voice go through the palace.
He probably
But
does
I
that
doubt
all
that
the
he would
time.
want. Go ahead and say what you were going to say, Lily.
I was just thinking, I didn't think it was an accident that he was overheard at all.
You know, he fucking walks in and is like, "I'm home," and just the whole palace.
The palace that literally the walls shrink at his presence.
He's like, I'm home. And they're like, God damn it.
Like a little dick.
He's back. Yeah.
And I love
The ick.
that Lavinia does end up stopping the fight between him and Darcy because literally she is dying, which means
Mm-hmm.
Lavinia will die, which
Right.
Lionel doesn't seem to understand. She won't exactly explain it, but she says she finally gets control of him. She's like, you still owe me an Acrux heir, and I'm tossing your ass out.
Well, if Lionel knew that killing Darcy would make Lavinia die, then that would be a really good thing to hold over her. So, of course, she doesn't want him to know.
So he still views her as his weapon to wield. He doesn't want to lose that weapon.
But he's scared of her.
He is scared of her.
But he's scared of her. So if he has control of her, then, you know, that would be a really good thing
So
to
you
know.
don't think at this point,
to
if
control
he
her.
could get rid of her, that he would take the opportunity?
He would lose the nymphs. His whole nymph army would be gone.
That's kind of shocking. He's not working on some other way in the background to control the nymphs without her.
He might be, but she is their princess.
I think the weirdest thing about all of this is that Lavinia agreed to the deal with Orion in the first place. I think she could have killed him. And
Darcy would have been free of the curse.
what do you mean?
If Orion died, the curse would have broken
Before she made the deal?
before she made the deal.
Because it was his blood that it was sealed in.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
Poor Ryan.
Yep.
It's always Orion that has to deal with this
Mhm.
bullshit.
Yep. We skipped over Stella. So when
Mhm.
Lionel...
We skipped over the Lionel chapter.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it. But no, when Lionel does come to his house and finds it burning, he does eventually go over to the Orion's house next door and finds Stella passed out. And he takes the time to fuck her and tell her he's never loved her and to get in line. Oh, and I'm moving you to the palace too, so that I can fuck you whenever I want.
I might argue this is also like assault, though.
Yeah.
Non-consensual. I don't think it's a full
Mm-mm.
consent. But yeah, poor Stella is... I don't know. I like feel bad for her, but I also don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel bad for her because she's kind
Pathetic.
of stuck there. Yeah.
desperate.
Well,
Yeah.
Even his
She desperately
thoughts,
wants him to love her.
he is so fucked up because when he first sees her, it
Yeah.
almost is sweet. Like, maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I
Yeah.
should have been with her. She was always there for me.
And then it turns.
And then he goes psychotic.
Mhm.
And
And then he's like, yeah, was always someone I could use. What'll I do?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
And he literally is like, I'm going to send you to the palace so that I can fuck you whenever I want to, because Lavinia is not letting me fuck other people because she keeps killing them.
is she not
So
going to
let's
kill
put her
Stella?
next door.
Literally. Like, what?
The logic, as Lily said before, is not logicking.
It's not,
Yeah.
because that's Lavinia's going to kill her straight away.
Not to mention
The
the fact
logic
that
is
her
not
son
logic.
is there and she's asked for mercy for him before.
Yeah, but I think he feels like he can control her.
Yeah. He knows that she cares about him and he's taking advantage of it as much as possible.
Which, that whole jail thing, when she does come to Orion, I don't know. Did it?
Uh-huh.
It just felt off. Like, just based on how her character was this whole way through, and then all of a sudden she seems to care. I don't know.
I do think it's weird because I do think that they wrote her character differently before this, but I didn't think that it was a lie. I do think it's a genuine moment that she's trying to have, but I do think that they didn't do a good job of transitioning that character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to go back to a plot mistake I think they made with Gabriel.
Okay.
When Lionel finds Vard, he's like, the only reason I'm not killing you is because you can get into Gabriel's head, because his head is protected from dark coercion by the Phoenix Kiss. But the Phoenix Kiss is also supposed to protect him from Cyclops interrogation and
I thought that too.
siren emotion manipulation, all these things. So how is it that Vard can get into his brain?
To be honest, when I read this, I assumed Lionel was just mistaken and that they would get there and Vard would try and it wouldn't work because it's not supposed to work.
I was sitting there, I was like, even if he used order suppressant, it shouldn't suppress it because it's not his order. It's a gift. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They also use, and granted here, Darcy says that her Phoenix is gone, but they use Vard to interrogate her as well. And she says that she locked everything and gave him just enough to think he got it all, but locked all the important stuff away.
Well, I will say for regular Cyclopses, it's possible to do that without a Phoenix. So I could see how Darcy could do that, but you could argue the same thing for Gabriel.
But he has the Phoenix Kiss. He's supposed to block it.
I agree.
What's the new butler's name? Is it Horace?
Mhm.
Horace, yeah.
Him.
Making Orion wear Dragon King merch.
I laughed aloud. I was like, why is there merch? This book is so unserious sometimes.
It is.
So and I think it was in the last one we read it in Orion's chapter, because when Lavinia calls her, she turns into smoke.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume at some point that is gonna come in handy.
I would hope so. This whole time I was like, why doesn't she just leave? But then she gets called back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, honestly, Darcy can leave, but do you really think she'll leave Orion behind?
Oh, I don't mean leaving.
No.
I mean using it to her advantage to smoke up to Lionel's room and kill him. Yeah.
That'd be too easy, Christy. We wouldn't have another book to read.
Yeah, she has
Lavinia.
to figure out how to turn herself into smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm scared to meet the next shadow baby. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to see it.
Unless it's a Pegasus. Remember? Black glitter?
Unless it's just a Pegasus. I'm scared of the black glitter shadow baby.
It is not going to be a Pegasus.
Oh, is it something
Sorry.
though?
What a shame.
Sorry.
Is it something?
It doesn't have an order, probably. It's probably just this horrifying Slender Man-esque.
Is that what it is? Or is
thing.
it something? Does it come out as something? Is it a shape? Is something fun?
I love Christy's like, is it something? Is it a shape? Is it?
Do y'all really want to know?
No, I want to read it.
Yeah.
We didn't talk much about Orion being fucking tortured.
I feel like
Orion
it's been
is
there,
being
done that.
tortured. Yeah. Orion is being tortured
Yeah.
by these shadow weapons, which make him not feel things, which to me defeats the purpose of making him suffer, but you know. And at the very end of this chapter, he and Darcy get it on in the cage.
Which I expected them to get caught or something bad to happen because they were fucking again. And I was like, oh god, not this again. When will they learn?
This is the second
Why do they always have to do
time-
it in a place where they're in trouble?
Yeah, this is the second time that they've screwed each other in jail in where anybody could see.
Good for them.
Is this the time and place?
Apparently so.
Especially when he's injured and she's injured and
Not enough to stop it.
Okay, yeah.
I admire it. I
They're going to be
admire
like old people in the
tenacity.
nursing home going at it.
Yeah. Good for
Everybody's gonna be
them.
playing checkers
Good for
around
them.
them. And they're going to be shaking the table.
Love it. Bingo.
see if Lavinia would have just walked in. You would have probably either had a hissy fit that she couldn't participate or just sat there and watched, which is still ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross. But I expected Lavinia to walk in and then separate them or some shit. But yes, it is so sad. But poor Orion.
Or Lavinia call her as a shadow beast away
yeah.
right before her orgasm. Just leave her hanging.
Leave her hang. That would
Actually, that would be leaving him
cruel.
hanging.
Cruel. True.
Although, how funny would that be? Him having sex and then she disappears and he's like, "Phew."
He's like, "Aw."
He's like, where'd she go?
Just hit the bottom of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
But they share a moment. It's very sweet. And then we ended there.
Yeah. So, any thoughts about the next section? Hopes, dreams, don't want to seize, want to seize?
I don't want to see Seth and Caleb right now because I have a feeling it's just going to be more of the same. And I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
I would really like to see some more of Tori. I'm really enjoying her character right now, despite the awful shit she has to go through. And I'm excited to see where she leads things. I know that this book drags, according to Brittany.
According to a lot of people.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully we can get through it.
Yeah. I would like to see the storylines starting to wrap up. So if we see Seth and Caleb, have it to where they are actually talking things through, less of the whining. I get it. They've been through something horrible,
why?
but suck it up for now and get through it and deal with it later, maybe. I mean, I know that sounds really, really terrible, but yeah.
I think we underestimate the importance of simplistic writing sometimes. Sometimes when I'm reading this, I'm like, I didn't realize how nice it was to read sometimes a book that doesn't have everything on the page.
Yeah. Well, I think mine was,
mean?
I'm ready to fuck some shit up. That is what I am ready for.
Yeah. Yes.
I am personally hoping for something a little happier.
Yeah.
Though I don't think we'll get it.
It is called Sorrow and Starlight, though.
Yeah.
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 The Starlight is protecting Orion's dick.
Apparently so. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What do you think will happen with Justin?
Psycho.
I think he's about to go ham on those nymphs.
He's nuts. I don't care what they say. I don't care what his storyline is. In the end,
He's gonna
beyond the books, he is a psychopathic serial killer.
He's gonna take his
Even
If he
Little
turns out
Justin
to be the
Pee-wee?
nicest guy ever.
No.
He's gonna take his little Justin pee-pee out of his diaper and pee on the nymphs.
Is that, wait,
And then they're gonna run away.
is that his nummy pack?
okay,
He's been in the air for days.
I'm sorry, was he taking a trip around the earth?
What?
Or the whatever it's called?
Supposedly.
Is his ass just going backwards around the earth over and over? His little legs flying out in his diaper.
Oh my God.
Just imagine being in a parachute.
You're standing there
For
and
days.
like a diaper Justin flies by and you're like, whoa.
You're like, oh my God, there he goes. What's that? Oh, Captain Underpants. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The kid in the underpants in the
there
the
you
books.
go.
Oh my God, it's Justin. Bye, Justin. He's flying off to save the world.
Oh my God.
I have no idea where that's fucking going at all. I really don't. Yeah, I have no idea where that's going. Are they going to wrap it up soon? Because I really want to know. Are they going to leave us hanging?
He gets a little conclusion to the parachute thing next section.
Okay.
He's going to run into something.
He's gonna munch on leaves like a caterpillar until he becomes a chrysalis and flies away.
Any last thoughts?
Chrysalis and then butterfly. No. All right, we'll end it there. We hope that you've enjoyed the show. Next episode, we'll be discussing Book 8, Sorrow and Starlight, chapters 19 through 29. New episodes drop every week.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Raiders podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.